Real Estate Pro Talk with your host, Greg Ernie, connecting people, community and property.
Well, hello, Greg Ernie here and welcome to Real Estate Pro Talk, episode 2. And I'm excited to be able to bring you our latest real estate episode. As always, end of January, February, kids are going back to school. Generally, we've all had a bit of a break and we're all starting to, return back to work and a bit of normal life. And quite often what happens is while we're away on holidays, we think, you know what, maybe when we get back, we might look to prepare and get our house ready to put on the market for sale. So I thought start of Feb or end of Jan, start of Feb, no better person to invite than Robyn Moore. Welcome, Robyn.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Now, Rob, I'll introduce you more formally in a moment, but how long have you sort of been involved with our organisation for?
Oh, it's about 9 years now. So it started with you guys actually selling my property and then me finishing a course that fitted you into your slot perfectly.
So I'll add a little bit more to that. We sold Robyn's home, as you said, about 9 years ago. And I remember going through your home and not just internally was it beautifully presented, but externally, your husband is a grounds lawnskeeper?
Yeah, he's a landscaper by trade.
Yeah, but turf is his
thing.
It's his passion.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a grass man. I like really nice lawn. Well, it's fair to say this was golf course, bowling green quality. And I still remember turning up out the front going, yeah, this is pretty good lawn here.
He'll be very proud.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we sold your home, and the one thing that stood out when we sold it 9 years ago is just how well you had it presented. And then probably, I'm going to say maybe 3 to 6 months after that, you actually came and approached us and said, hey guys, have done a course looking at in styling, design, presenting. How do you think it would go if I could go out and speak to your owners and give them some tips on preparing and presenting their home for sale? And at that point in time, it was probably before, call it the fashion of a lot of those things were happening. Yep. And we thought, you know what, we'll give it a whirl. And I think we probably tried it for a couple of months. Well, that was probably 8.5 years ago. Yeah. And I'm going to say now, I would say it's close to probably every property that we would put on the market. That provided the owners are happy for you to come out, that we would have you go in and talk to our vendors, sometimes weeks, sometimes months prior to putting it on the market.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
So, Rob, probably you've been doing it for a long time now, and I know it's very easy for an estate agent for me to say that presentation is one of the most important things. And I always think of this, and nowadays more importantly than ever, it's not the presentation when the buyers turn up to the property. Yes, that's important, but the first inspection is actually when they first see it online. So your first property inspection, it's how does it look on the internet? How do the photos come up? What's the internal like? What's the gardens? They're going to make their decision, how they see it either on realestate.com or Facebook or social media or one of those, or when we do the video. That'll be the determining factor whether they're going to think, gee, that property looks nice, I'll go and have a look. Or they'll look at it and choose not to. So with all of that being said, Rob, probably what I would like from you today is what's the main things that you see? Let's probably go through the main tips for those that are thinking, okay, I want to put my home on the market in February or March. What would be the main items that they should be looking at?
So first impression, like you said, it's the front yard. So sometimes people will just do a drive-by first just to have a look. And if you can give a good first impression streetwise, then instantly you're winning. But like you said, it's not just the photos online, it's the video now that we have, but it's also a first impression with the agents. So when you have the agent come through, you really want him or her to see it in its very best light, because then they're excited about the property and it's much easier for them to talk about it to clients.
Well, I almost look at that, and I say it to my vendors, almost in essence, your first sale is not to the public. Your first sale is to the sales team and
Absolutely.
The salesperson. Because if they like it and they get that good vibe and that, what I call that positive energy around it, well, when they're ringing the buyers up and they're saying, hey, I've just seen a new listing, it's beautifully presented, come and have a look. It's selling. You know what selling is? It's a transference of feelings.
Yes.
And if
I've got a list.
Yeah. Well, don't let me steal your thunder, Rob. You go through your list.
I think the most important things, and you said it there, if I could bottle the feeling people get when they go visit a home and sell it, I'd be a millionaire.
Yep.
Because you either have it or you don't. I can help you get it, but sometimes you just don't have it. So I always say it comes down to 3 basic things. Temperature.
Yeah.
So if it's too hot inside, people will, they'll just be overwhelmed. You want it to be nice and, what's the word I'm looking for, Greg? Just a nice temperature, not too hot, not too cold, just neutral.
Comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable. Yeah, and the same if it was cold. You wouldn't want it to be freezing cold inside because they don't get that nice feeling. So I always describe it to my clients as it's the
Yep.
Yeah, I walk in the door and instantly it's temperature, smell.
Yep.
So that can be food, pets, just stale, locked up, musty, teenage boy, dare I say it, but those sort of things.
Yep.
And feeling is the last one. And I can't tell you what it is about the feeling. You either have it or you don't.
And I always think, Rob, when we're living in a home, we're living in it.
Yes.
So what we're now wanting to do is we're wanting our vendors, as they're getting ready, and this is where you come in,
Yep.
is to transfer the home from what we call live mode
Yep.
to sell mode.
Yeah.
And I say to a lot of my owners, your selling mode is actually, you probably may not actually enjoy living in the home
Not as
much
much,
in sell
no.
mode because you got to keep everything all neat and tidy, and you've probably got rid of things. But that in essence is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me on? And I don't like the word cluttering because whenever I say to the owner we've got to declutter, it sounds like I'm saying their house is
Full.
untidy. But
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about clutter and how important that is?
Yeah, okay. So what you want a buyer to do is be able to walk into the property and visualize their furniture there. Now, I don't mean empty because empty is cold and you don't get much of a feeling for a house when it's empty. So, before you said it's lived in or sell mode, I always call it lived in, where you live every day, but then there's a little less lived in and that's what I'll say to people, it's a little less lived in because it's just got stuff in places that you wouldn't have it for photos and opens and
Yep.
videos. So yeah, it's maybe not so harsh, but definitely that. It's lived in where, you have your bench you put all your keys and your phones and your paperwork and stuff. Everybody's got a dumping ground somewhere.
Yeah, stuff pinboard to the fridge and all of that.
Yep, all those things. And then you want to declutter those things. So remove those things just so it looks a little less.
Yep.
So your fridge is bare. And I know to some people it's really weird, but I just want a fridge to be an empty thing in a room.
And you know what? I'm going to use a word that I call distractors.
Yes.
Or distractions. So by that, what I mean is when a photo gets taken and everything's all neat and tidy, but then it could be something on the kitchen bench, or it could be just something that just stands
Random.
out in the lounge room, and you're like, oh, what's that?
Yep.
And when the photo gets taken, that's the thing that catches the eyeball. So you really don't want, it's those distractors. And I say to my owners, you know what you want to do is stand in the corner of your home and just stop and just look, and you sort of want to remove a lot of those things. And your kitchen bench is the classic. You might have the bowl of fruit, and you might have the knife set, and you might have the microwave, and you're going to have the bowls of the sugar and the coffee. So you might just go, you know what, I'm just going to have a bowl of fruit, and I'm going to have 2 nice jars that have got the coffee and sugar in it.
Yep.
And that would be
Kitchen,
sufficient.
I always say leave out what you use every day, but hide the things people don't need to see.
Yep.
So like paper towel and products, oil products and sauces and things, some people have them out all the time.
Yep.
And that's okay when you're living in it.
Yep.
But when it's a little less lived in, you hide those sort of things. But you're right. It can be something simple like a box of tissues that really stands out. And I hate tissues in photos. They really just stand out and I don't like them.
Yep.
They're not pretty. Or it could be some really big, massive art that doesn't actually fit the room.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's looking with fresh eyes. I tell people a lot to take a photo, mostly from doorways. Stand in a doorway and take a photo. Go and have lunch or go do something else, clean something for a bit, come back, have a look at those photos and see what it is that first grabs your attention.
I've never heard you say that before, but that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah, and if they want, send it to me because then I can go, oh, okay, we've got to move this.
Yep.
As with that is also neutral houses. So it's equally as bad because a lot of people have neutral everything. Neutral's great.
Yep.
Neutral helps sell your house, absolutely, but it's got no life in it. So if you add some colour, so I'm thinking bathrooms is the first thing that came to mind. Really neutral bathrooms. All there is everything beige or grey or whatever. And then if you add some bright coloured towels, doesn't matter what colour, pick something that's on trend at the moment. You only have to go to Kmart or Target, Big W, and you can get some cheap towels that are really bright and they're the latest colours. Add a pot plant, and or even a plastic plant. Hence, I say that. Dare I say that? But it's life and colour to a really neutral space.
And you think on that. Okay, let's just say you bought some towels. The kitchen, it could be a nice tea towel that's going to hang over the oven.
Yep.
It might be, if you haven't, you might have an old kettle that's no good, as an example. So you might go and buy a nice,
just a fresh kettle.
Let's call it a red kettle, but and all of a sudden you're now starting to tie your room in with a bit of colour themes.
That's right.
And I know you know where I'm going to head
don't
with this
go
now,
there. No, don't go there.
But I learnt one of my biggest ever lessons from you, because I said to some clients of mine, I said, what we need is for the kitchen, if you can get a bowl of apples and put your apples on the bench. So my clients went down and they bought red apples and put them into the bowl. And Robyn turns up to give the advice, and you're like, well, you've bought the wrong apples. And they've said, what do you mean? Greg told us to buy apples. Well, and this is the key point, and this is really the thing that stood out to me. On the back wall behind them, they had a photo of all of the ferns, say, going up through the Black Spur back of Hillsville. So, and that had green connotations. These clients had bought red apples, and the red apples didn't tie in with the green picture on the back. As soon as they put green Granny Smith apples in, all of a sudden now they've given, an even flow of the colour. And when they told me that, I'm like, do you know what? That is so obvious, but I actually never.
But it's probably nitpicking. The house was probably perfect, except that little accent.
Yeah, but that in essence is styling. And I think sometimes certainly for men, for me anyway, I'm not a stylist by any means, and that's why obviously
that's why you should leave it up to me.
Leave it up to
don't
you.
tell them apples.
But I think sometimes it can be daunting enough just putting your house for sale.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if you're now, because we've got the emotional attachment because you're living in your own home, it can be hard. But that's where you come in and you just look at from the buyer's eyes to go, okay, well, what can we do? How do we thin this out? How do we give it a bit of colour? If we put red towels or blue towels in the bathroom, now they're going to tie in really well with the grey brand new bathroom that's been renovated or whatever it is, and now we've got colour tones.
Could be the same as it to flow into the bedroom. So, if there's a colour scheme going on in one area, it is nice to flow it all around.
Yep.
So just a little hint of it here and there. It's not like, when you say red, I always go, oh, because red's a bit old now and not many people are.
Well, that's why you're the stylist.
I'm sorry,
again.
sir.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
But I do go,
we are recording this.
Sorry, Greg.
But that's right. That's good.
Do you know the best colour right now is green?
Yep. Yeah, okay.
Because it's plants, it's towels. In all the neutral spaces, it will fit.
Yep.
So green is a really good on-trend thing
Good.
to
Yeah,
do.
there you go. Green. There you go.
Green.
That's good. Thank you.
Sorry.
Not red. One other question I get asked a lot when I go into people's homes is, should we take down all of the family photos and all of those sort of things? I'll be interested in your answer, because I know I've got my thoughts, but what's your thoughts?
So again, I am always aiming at a love buyer and that feeling.
Yep.
So for me to get that as a woman, and it's often women that buy by love, I need it to feel like you live there and love it there, and it just doesn't suit your needs anymore.
Yep.
So that then I can walk in and I get that, yes, the family lives here. That's what I'm looking at.
Yep.
So it's a fine line again. So I've been to a house today and the walls are full, and I suggested a few come down, and I actually pinpointed which ones, and we stuck some sticky note things on it.
Yep.
And then a lot of photo frames that are not on walls. So I would say it's the photo frames that actually it looks like clutter.
Yep.
So again, talking about clutter, it's not clutter. It's just, it's your family. It's a little bit too much.
Thinning. So
Thinning.
And I think your answer basically is the same as mine. My answer is, when people are walking into a home, it's a family home, and they want to feel that it's still a family. So to me, if you remove every family photo, unless there's privacy concerns or whatever, which is a different thing, but I think to leave a couple of family things, I actually don't think that's a bad thing, because people get that vibe that this is a family home.
Yep.
So that's all right. Well, we're on the
Absolutely.
the same page.
Sometimes agents have told them to get rid of all of the family photos and the walls are totally bare.
Yep.
And I tell them, you need to put some back. And they're like, can't I just go buy some prints or something? You can, but I still want it to feel like you live here.
Yes.
Because there is that very fine line.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And part of what you do is just coming back to the colours and the towels and those sort of things, but picture frames or pictures as well. You can help. I know you help our clients if you need to source. It might be, let's say, the lounge room, and they've got a picture up on the wall that probably doesn't tie in for what we're trying to do. You can get that picture that will just go, that just finishes that room.
Yeah.
I know you've got a whole armory of towels and supporting sort of goodies, if that makes sense. So you can help our clients, or they can go and get their own, but certainly you can give them advice around that as well.
If they're lacking things that make it feel homey, then I have a service where I can provide those, and they basically rent it like you would staging. But it's not big ticket items, so it's not beds and couches. It's things like cushions and pillows, throw rugs, bedside tables, the little things that I can fit in a car and I don't need a truck for, pretty much.
So one of the come back to another question that I get asked a lot is, should we modernise the kitchen? Should we modernise the bathroom? Should we, how much should we spend? And unless something's in call it really poor repair, or is really, really bad.
Yep.
I always think that your best money well spent is what I call elbow grease. So by that being, go to Bunnings and get, what are those wipes called where you can wipe Enyos or something? You wipe the wall and it leaves the paint on, but it gives it all a clean look. Just your decluttering, de-dusting, de-cobwebbing.
You got it.
Clean your windows. Now that's stuff that you can do. It's only going to cost you probably a weekend or two.
Yes.
It's not going to cost you serious dollars compared to, a client rips out the bathroom and puts a whole new bathroom in. And that's great. They've modernised the bathroom, but yet the carpet's still original carpet.
Correct.
The blinds are original. It's still an original kitchen. And it's sort of like the client goes in and goes, well, that's done.
But that isn't.
It's like if you paint that area of the house, but then as soon as you start, you've almost got to paint right through. So I think you've got to be... elbow grease to me is your biggest winner. Yeah,
so there's two sides to that. We'll go back to the elbow grease. But you're dead right about the homes that have a star. So you want your home to flow. You want it all to feel the same. If it's all dated, it's probably better to sell it like that than it is to do a brand new kitchen and spend a lot of money on it and then have two bathrooms that are pretty ordinary.
Yep.
Because they stand out then for the wrong reasons.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So you are better to have them either all done or not done. It depends on where you're at in your reno or...
Correct. And I think probably comes down to repairs as well. And I think when people walk into a home, if there's minor little repairs and you can do them, I think they want to do those because they're not going to cost,
that's right,
too much. And I always say if you can do the obvious minor repairs, I think they're the ones you want to do. Because otherwise, if people really spot the minor things, then they're going to go, geez, what else is there? So,
yeah, absolutely. But sometimes when you're living in a property, you don't see those minor things. You walk past them every day because you've lived there so long. So that's, again, why I come, fresh eyes.
Yep.
I can just come and I'll see a crack in a wall and I would like that probably fixed. So it just depends where we're at.
Another question, externally, mulch?
Oh, I love mulch.
Oh, I knew you'd say.
But I'm a very boring person.
Yep.
Not many houses, I would say, get coloured mulch.
Yep.
So please just go straight out of the chipper mulch.
Yeah. So bush mulch.
Bush mulch.
Yeah.
Bush mulch is the best.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is not to say don't put red mulch or black mulch or whatever, but I agree. I just get bush mulch.
As soon as you put black mulch down and a leaf falls on it, it's mess.
Yeah.
It's messy.
Yeah, I actually hadn't thought of that, but it stands out straight away.
It really
doesn't
does.
it?
Yeah, so you can put it down one weekend and next weekend you're there picking up all the bits that sit on the top so it doesn't look as nice.
Very good
point.
So
bush mulch is so easy.
Obviously, I'm a big thing on lawns, but not just lawns, your edging, whippersnipping around. Sometimes, occasionally, not often, but occasionally I might see a client where maybe they haven't been as regular mowing the lawn as perhaps they could have. So then when they go to cut it, it's like they've just cut the paddock and there's just, if you know you're going to be putting your home on the market in a month's time, start cutting it every week.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the third or the fourth week, it's going to look, as manicured as it can. So don't just give it the slash cut and think that that's going to be good to go. You want to start to do it at 3-4 weeks before.
You certainly do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other tips?
Probably outdoor entertaining spaces is a good place to talk, because it is an extension of your home, and a lot of buyers are looking for those outdoor entertaining spaces. They're big selling features. Most people want one. So having your table and chairs set up, maybe with a couple of bright cushions and a plant on the table, and your Barbie clean and uncovered.
Yep.
So when you get home from the open house, it looks like you're going to go and sit out there and entertain, then a buyer will think they will too.
Yes. Yep.
So they're terrific. Make sure if you've got laser light, it's nice and clean. it's back to the elbow grease, which you sort of didn't touch on, but any cleaning you can do is better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would pay more money for a home that's clean.
Yep.
And a lot of people will too, than having to walk in and screw your nose up a little bit and think, oh no, I probably don't want that one.
100%. And I know I've done opens as an example, a property up in Mount Evelyn where it had a wood-fired pizza oven.
Yep.
So he actually lit the pizza oven, and it was actually really good. He actually made a pizza, which I put into the oven at the start of the open, pulled it out a couple of minutes later, and people were able to have pizza from the open. So it's just sort of, you come back to that feeling, and it's just the little things. And anyone that, obviously you wouldn't do it in summer at the moment, but certainly in winter, if you've got a wood fire that's going to crackle away, if you've got a Canara fire, if you've got the outdoor fire pit or pizza oven,
pool,
have them on. Swimming pool.
The pool. You don't have to be in there swimming when people are in open. Please don't try that one. But you can leave some toys out in the pool floating around, or chuck some pool towels over the fence, so it looks like when you get home, you're going to jump in the pool. It's that lifestyle feeling.
Yes.
A lot of people think I'm cheesy when I say some things, but you know what? Sometimes you do want a couple of glasses and a bottle of wine sitting there. If you're selling a lifestyle property, that's what I want in my lifestyle.
100%. 100%. So, and the other thing, Rob, just as I think too, even just your gutters, how they get that bit of mold or grime on them.
Yep.
Just get the hose.
High pressure wash.
A gurney or something if you've got one. But if you don't, even just get the broom and the hose and just give that a clean. Just makes a massive difference.
Massive difference. It's like clean windows. The other thing that will help with clean windows is not having nets.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of...
Open it up, let the light in.
That's right.
Yep.
All natural light is a big selling feature.
Yep.
So open the curtains, open the blinds, let all the natural light come in. But also what you're doing is letting the buyers, when they're inside, see out at what they're purchasing.
Yep.
And when they're out, we do want them to see in.
Yep.
That would probably be the best.
Yeah, and for your photos and that as well.
Absolutely.
It all flows and daylight. So for any of our people, anyone that's thinking of selling, so Robyn goes out to all of our sellers. Any home that we're putting on the market, our clients don't pay for Robyn. Robyn's all part of our service. You're in-house for us. And I know, speaking for me, but I'm speaking for my whole sales team and obviously our clients as well, for us to be able to, turn up and know when we're getting the photos done or when we're doing our first viewings, and that the property is presented basically as good as it can be. And coming back to what I said earlier, it's very daunting for sellers. Well, where do I start? What do I do? To have you be able to come along and almost hold their hand and nurse them through. Some owners don't need it. Some you walk in and, as I say to them, you probably won't need Robyn's services but I said you'll get on really well because you've got it nailed.
If I can just help them with one little thing. Otherwise, they get a big list.
Correct.
And if they've got 3 months or a year till they're going on, I'll help them decide what things they should do and where to spend their money wisely or not.
Spot on. And I know sometimes we'll get you to pop back or they'll have your number.
Yep.
So, and they'll say, oh, Greg, get Robyn back out. That's fine. She'll love to have a look. And we will just want to know that we've got it perfect because I come back, you only ever get one chance for that first impression.
So do.
And your first impression, yes, there's an impression when they walk in the home, but your first impression is, when they see it online. That's your first impression. So, Rob, thank you. I know you love getting on camera.
Love it.
I know you love it, but you are brilliant at what you do. We're very lucky to have you as part of our team. I think it's, as you say, it's about 8 to 8.5 years now. 9 years if you go back for... you being one of our vendors, and you know how our team and our 4 offices work. So
you guys are great.
So we really appreciate it. If anyone is thinking of selling, just contact any of our team at our 4 offices, any of the sales team. You can contact. We can put you in touch with Robyn. She'll come out. There's no obligation. And Rob, you'll come out and, as you say, give them a list. It might be a half page or it might be multiple pages. And I have seen some big lists over the time, but But as I say to my sellers, Rob will come out and she's got your best interests at heart. You will give a list that is however long it needs to be, and as much as those owners can do of that list, in the end, the better it's going to be to help them with their net return. And presentation can be the difference of that result, or it could be 50,000, 100,000 more, depending. But you don't always have to spend $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 to get the presentation right. Just comes back to that elbow grease as we were chatting.
Yeah,
So
a lot of people get frightened, I think, about my list, and it's not as daunting as all that. I'm very practical.
Yes.
So I'm not going to tell you you've got to get this and you've got to get that. My suggestion is, if it was my house, these are the things I would do to get the best price.
Spot on. And I know the feedback from our sellers, so much so many of them will call you, obviously once they're fully fit, can you come and have a look? Or they'll send you photos, or
send me the link.
They'll send you a link when we're live, have a look, or even they'll text you, this is the result we got. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and,
I love it.
It's just so good. And I said it before, but we're very lucky to have you as part of our team. And
thanks.
Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Real Estate Pro Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Rob. Good on you.
See ya.